EVELYN Grace Hartley was a junior at Central High School at the time of her apparent abduction. She is the youngest of 4 children. One of her older brothers died of polio several years prior to her disappearance. Evelyn's parents are now deceased. One of her siblings lives in Oregon and the other in Australia. Evelyn was babysitting a 20-month-old girl at the home of La Crosse State College professor Viggo Rasmussen on the evening of October 24, 1953. Rasmussen and his wife, along with many other La Crosse residents, were attending the town homecoming game. The Rasmussen house was located in the 2400 block of Hochschler Drive. The family had a regular babysitter, but she also planned to attend the homecoming game that night, so Evelyn was hired as a replacement. She brought 4 or 5 school books with her and planned to study while the baby slept. She was supposed to call her parents at 8:30 p.m. to check in, but she never did. Her father tried to call several times that day and never got an answer. He became worried and went to Rasmussen's house to check on his daughter. Evelyn's father found the house's doors locked and the lights and radio on. The baby was unharmed, asleep in her crib, but there was no sign of Evelyn. The furniture inside the living room was disarranged and Evelyn's textbooks were scattered. One of her shoes and her eyeglasses, which were broken, were on the living room floor. Her other shoe was found in the basement. All the windows in the house locked except a basement window in the back of the house. The screen for that window had been taken out and was leaning against the outside wall. A short stepladder was positioned at the window in the basement. It belonged to the Rasmussens and they'd been using it to help paint the basement. 3 other windows had pry marks. There were footprints from a pair of sneakers in the basement window box and in the living room. In addition to the indications of forced entry, was a significant amount of blood of Evelyn's type both inside the home near the basement window, and outside in the yard. There were 2 pools of blood in the yard. One stain was 18 inches in diameter. There was a bloody handprint about 4 feet off the ground on the wall of a garage 100 feet from the Rasmussens' home, and stains on the home of a neighbor's house. Authorities believe Evelyn's abductor carried or dragged her through the yard, and blood pooled twice when the kidnapper stopped and rested her on the ground. Tracker dogs traced Evelyn's scent for 2 blocks, then lost the trail at Cooley Drive northeast of the Rasmussen home. Authorities believe whoever took her put her in a car. One neighbor reported seeing a light-colored car circling the neighborhood at approximately 8 p.m. Another local resident said they heard screams at about 7 p.m., but they assumed it was children playing. Authorities believe Evelyn was abducted around that time. 2 days after her disappearance, a local man named Ed Hofer came forward to say that at about 7:15 p.m. that night, he almost hit a 2-toned green 1941 or 1942 Buick which was speeding westward. He noticed 2 men and a girl inside. Several days after her disappearance, a pair of underpants and a brassiere that could have been Evelyn's were found near the underpass on Highway 14, 2 miles south of La Crosse. They too were stained with blood. A blood-stained pair of men's pants was found along the same road 4 miles away. It is unknown if the pants are connected to Evelyn's case. A pair of size 11 blood-stained Goodrich sneakers was found in the Coon Valley area southeast of La Crosse. The soles had a suction cup pattern very similar to the footprints found near where Evelyn was last seen and the blood was her type. Investigators believe they were worn by her abductor. Inside one of them was a single human hair, possibly from an African American. Within 800 feet of the shoes was a well-worn, size 36 blue denim jacket with metallic buttons and blood stains on the front, back and sleeves. The blood on the jacket was Evelyn's type, and blood smears found at the house she was taken from were made by cloth with the characteristics of denim. Authorities believe the jacket was worn by her kidnapper. However, it appeared to be too small for a person big enough to wear size 11 shoes. One investigator concluded, based on the pattern of wear on the jacket and the way it was cut off, that whoever owned it worked as a steeplejack. Evelyn's kidnapping sparked one of the biggest searches in Wisconsin history. Among other extreme measures, investigators conducted mass searches of local vehicles and gave lie detector tests to all the students and teachers at Evelyn's school. They took the shoes and the jacket to 31 different communities in the area and displayed them to an estimated 10,000 people, but no one recognized them. Many suspects were questioned over the years, but there was no evidence to implicate anyone. Some people suspect Edward Theodore Gain may have been involved in Evelyn's case. A photograph of him is posted with this case summary. He was visiting relatives in La Crosse, just blocks from the home where she was babysitting, on the night of her disappearance. In 1957, police went to question Gain about the disappearance of a local barmaid and found human remains all over his house. He had killed 2 women and had dug up other women's bodies in the cemetery and mutilated them. Gain was declared insane and died in a mental institution in 1984. No trace of Evelyn was found on his property, and he denied any involvement in her case. He has still not been completely cleared, however, and is also being considered in the 1947 abduction of Georgia Weckler. However, the disappearance case of Evelyn remains unsolved.